What's going on, guys? Nico here, and I have a question for you. What is the one thing that all top music producers have in common? Avicii, Dr. Dre, Kygo, Illenium, Zedd, Diplo, Calvin Harris, Skrillex, the Chainsmokers. They all have one thing in common that has helped them out significantly stand out from the crowd and have success in their musical careers versus those that never get heard. And I discovered this by going through the histories of the artists, what they were taught growing up, who they collaborated with, and their entire path. And it really came down to one thing. Now, what was it exactly? Was it great sound design? Was it really good mixing? Was it excellent mastering and engineering? Was it writing good melodies, chord progressions, or just collaborating well with others in the studio? Now, we're going to get into this in a second, but first, let me tell you what we're going to be covering today. And I've titled the program, The Hybrid Producer Transformation. Now, my goal for you today is to start your journey on becoming a hybrid producer. And a hybrid producer is someone who is a songwriting machine and can effortlessly generate and compose musical ideas. They can then turn these ideas into produced songs that get played on repeat and stuck in the listener's head. To someone that makes music that stands out from the crowd. Now, a lot of times these lessons exist just to sell you something and really not teach you anything. And I promise that is not the case here. You're going to walk away from this lesson learning lots of valuable information that's going to benefit you for the rest of your life. I value your time and want you to walk away from this better than you came here. Now, you may be wondering who I am or what makes me qualified to teach this, so let me introduce myself. My name is Nico Catoulis, and I've been playing piano since the age of 2. Now, for 24 years, I've been taking popular songs and recreating them and playing them on the piano by ear. This has resulted in growing a large audience of fans, and if you're one of my fans, I thank you so much for supporting me along this journey. That's led to over 50 million streams and support from some of the top artists in the world like the Chainsmokers, Lauv, Kygo, Steve Angelo, and countless others. I studied music theory in college at Johns Hopkins University and recently picked up music production and had my first official remix out with Borges. And I'm not saying this to brag, just to show you guys that I know what I'm talking about. So during the process of learning music production, I actually started teaching other music producers piano and saw how much they improved in terms of their songwriting and their creativity. And I'll talk more about this later. And just to show you guys, here are my stream counts. On Spotify at this point, I'm almost at 34 million streams. I've had comments from Lauv, Lele Pons. On my YouTube channel, as you can see, some retweets by Tujamo and Steve Angelo of Swedish House Mafia. The Chainsmokers have reposted me on Instagram before. And I've had, moderate success in the music industry. So what I actually enjoy doing most, though, other than just playing and creating music, is helping others learn. And as you guys have seen on pianoforproducers.com, we have the Modern Piano Masterclass, which teaches music producers piano fundamentals. And I've taught music producers ranging from beginners with no experience to Grammy-nominated and even Grammy-winning producers in over 18 countries, and truly to just help them unlock their creative potential. So aside from that, here's what we're covering in this lesson today. The one thing that all top music producers have in common, and how having this one thing can completely change the game for you and change your life as a music producer and really help you solve the problems that you currently face. We're also going to walk through the 4 parts of every song and how to create each part effortlessly with a bulletproof formula. And this will be happening in live songwriting training. I'll be on the piano showing you guys exactly how to write music the way I do. And then I'm going to give you the blueprint to your hybrid producer transformation. Again, this is all free. I'm not asking for any money from you guys. And at the end, I'll have an opportunity for you. But for right now, let's just focus on the one thing that matters. And the one thing that matters that has helped all these producers, you can probably guess it since I run a website called pianoforproducers.com, is that they all have piano fundamentals and they use the piano to unlock their creative potential. All of these artists are hybrid producers, and to be a hybrid producer, you must have piano fundamentals. And let me explain why. Avicii. I always start with the melody, so I'll sit by the piano and play the chord with the melody. When I have a melody, I'll build everything around that. One of the top melody writers in the world, and you could YouTube this. Look how Avicii starts his writing process on the piano. Next, Kashmir. It was only 2 years ago I finally learned to read music and actually play the piano instead of drawing my notes in. It really does help if you produce. Again, coming from one of the top producers in the world. Let's keep on going. Armin van Buuren. I had my piano lessons this morning and brought my kids to daycare, so everything is good. And he actually talks about how he has a piano instructor in the masterclass version, showing, and he's talking about this to show how important it is for his creative mindset. Alan Walker, one of the best, one of the most popular songs ever in EDM, Faded. I've actually been learning piano. I started learning the melodies on piano. All of these artists here are comfortable sitting down at a piano and playing it, and you'll see how important it is to help you in so many aspects of composition and your producer life. Now, Hyperbits, who runs one of the largest online courses for dance music production, says this right here. Piano is the most important instrument to grasp because every DAW uses a piano roll for your MIDI and composition editing. This is applicable beyond piano, but again, this is the most common instrument used to be learned the basics of music theory. And I found it almost impossible to find an artist, songwriter, or top producer that does not have piano fundamentals. And piano fundamentals, guys, are really based around 4 things: chord construction, melody writing, rhythmic patterns, and improvisation. And we'll jump into this. And you may say, well, deadmau5 doesn't play piano. Well, deadmau5 actually wishes he did play piano. The thing is with deadmau5, though, he was producing at a different time period. While it may have been okay about 10 years ago as a producer not to really have piano fundamentals, the industry is getting massively competitive and it is very challenging to stay out. And if you guys are producers out there, you'll notice that everyone is getting DAWs. Everyone is getting these plugins. Everyone is getting access to this. Education is becoming commoditized. And really anyone out there can start to learn music production, where 5 years ago, tutorials didn't exist on how to do all this stuff. But now there's so much information that anyone really could figure out how to produce music, right? And I'll say this, I credit my rapid success in production for all the years I played piano and all the online courses that I took. Arrangement, chord progressions, and melodies came almost instantly to me. So after that point, all I really needed was a couple of good sounds and, just understanding common mixing and mastering, right? But what I found with producers is that the arrangement is the hardest part of the entire process. So learning piano fundamentals, and something I'll say, a lot of you will be like, well, it's really challenging for me to be the next Avicii. I don't know how to play piano. I really, I'd rather draw my notes in. With the right system and the right coach, it is very simple. It is actually so simple, you'll be mind blown how easy it is to play piano, learn piano, write melodies, and do everything on there. And we'll get into that in a second. Now, how is having piano fundamentals going to change your life as a music producer and solve the problems you currently face? And I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of music producers about their biggest problems that we're going to get into right now and how piano fundamentals solves them. First and foremost, creating memorable melodies is something many producers struggle with. Even sometimes the best producers struggle with, right? All the best melody writers in the world and everyone that I've spoken to, seen on YouTube, they all start on the piano. It may be on the guitar or just a combination of piano, guitar, and vocal sometimes. But when you study the best in the game, and that's what, if you want to be, one of the greatest, that's what you should do. You look at what the best are doing, and they're writing music on the piano. You can go on YouTube and search up Kygo, Avicii, any other artist, even John Legend, another vocalist, they start on the piano. And what a lot of these composers have done is they've studied and played a lot of other top melodies on the piano, and eventually they kind of rewire their mind to write catchy melodies. And if you're ever struggling with creative block, there's something that I call melody starters, and that's when you just move your hand and play a couple of notes in a row, and all of a sudden you'll start getting new ideas, as well as, using improv tactics, which I'll get into in a bit later. And let's say you record your melody, it's not absolutely perfect on the piano, you can still make edits in your DAW, which again is your Logic, Ableton, GarageBand, FL Studio, whatever you use. So if you can understand piano fundamentals, you'll be able to create very good melodies and memorable melodies. And then the second part is writing emotional chord progressions. When you play the piano, you actually internalize playing these chords and you build your own chord library of common chord progressions that you use. And when you truly understand how they're constructed and how they're played, number one, you'll be able to change them and manipulate them when you're producing music. And second, you'll actually feel the music. And nothing is better than actually sitting down and playing real chords that sound great and having that natural sound to it, right? And when you're playing on the piano, sometimes what happens is you'll have accidents. And these accidents will sound good and you'll be able to use them in your production sessions. Now, between these two, what you're slowly starting to do is you're closing the mind to DAW link. And a lot of producers I speak to, they're like, I struggle getting musical ideas out of my head that I may have had, driving down the road, in my car, in the shower, wherever it may be. And I'm actually going to have a student, Anthony, show you something that came to his mind and how he just went down to the piano. By the way, only playing for a couple of weeks. Let's just listen to what he has to say here and what he created.
And it was the first time where I felt like I was a songwriter. It was before I would just draw on the MIDI notes or I would use a MIDI pack. This is the first time where it was the most blissful moment of my life. It's, I don't know why, but.
So as you can see, he wrote a beautiful chord progression just by getting down these first few, the creating memorable melodies and writing emotional chord progressions. He practiced some of the tactics I showed him that I'm going to show you later. And he came up with that pretty fast. And it's crazy how many, mind-blowing things that students have done just by using basic piano fundamentals. And we keep going for here, right? A lot of producers have workflow problems. They get stuck in a creative rut and they start losing motivation because they don't know where to go next. But if you built up your chord library and you have, just this brain that's wired so differently when you start playing piano, it comes a lot easier. And as you can see, Calvin Harris and Sigala, for the most part, they don't struggle so much with producing out music. They're just really at this point trying to focus on the details of, making their stuff sound fantastic. But these guys that have these piano fundamentals, they don't struggle and get stuck. And really, they just help improve your workflow dramatically. Collaborating with other artists. If you want to be a big time producer and get recognized for your music, at some point you're going to have to collaborate with other artists. And getting in the studio and working with top artists, if you can't just sit at a piano and play while the vocalist is singing, it's going to be challenging because everyone needs to speak the same language. It's the common language amongst all artists. And to collaborate at a high level, it's going to be challenging. Do you really want to be sitting there trying to draw notes in when you have one of the best vocalists in the world sitting there with you, right? And everyone out here that's listening to this, if you're at this point this far, that's what I feel like you want. You want to be making music with great people. That sounds great. This is something that you have to have. At this point, I wouldn't say that, some people may say you don't really need it. I think you need it. And when you have this, others are going to desire to work with you. Then we go on to music theory. A lot of music producers are still confused how music theory actually works because you haven't tied your mind to your hands, to your body, to your computer. And that's what piano does, but a lot of courses out there, they teach music theory, but there's no practical application. Even if you're drawing in notes, you never truly understand what you're doing because you're not playing it on the live piano. And once you start going through a couple of exercises, you'll know things that, only 1% of producers actually know and that can make happen. So music theory wise, this gets squashed as well, right? So this problem, it goes away because you start understanding. And the last thing a lot of producers struggle with is overall just confidence and being perceived as someone that's high status in the industry. And let's be honest, confidence is a major part of the music game, and the best producers out there are very confident, sometimes a little cocky, but they have skills to back it up. And once you develop these, I call them almost high income skills, playing piano and having these fundamentals, you're more likely to be hired for projects. You're more likely to be perceived as intelligent, more attractive, and people will be impressed that you can play, not just in the music industry, but outside as well. And I know some people here work jobs and other things like that, or even looking for jobs in college. If you add music to your resume, it boosts all aspects of life, right? But the challenging part is where do you start? How do you find, the right teacher to teach you this? And look, we're about to get in the live section of this where I'm going to show you how you can be doing this for yourself. And again, my goal for you is to become a hybrid producer. And this is the one thing that all the top producers have in common. So now we're going to get into the live section. I'm going to show you the 4 parts of every song and how to create each part effortlessly. I'm telling you, it is really easy with this bulletproof formula that I'm going to show you in the live training. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So in this song, I'm going to break down how I wrote jazzy vibes, and the song sounds like this. Right, so that's just part of the song, but I want to break down exactly how the song is written. And if you understand piano, this may be a little bit of a review, just bear with me here. On the piano here, we have 7 keys in the key of C major. Now, there are actually 12 notes on the piano that you can play, and each one of these notes has an individual family. And each family can either be happy or sad, and this is known as major or minor, and you may know these terms before, right? So I'm going to be playing in the key of C major, which the relative is A minor. So these are the 7 notes that we're going to use. And we can basically construct a song out of these 7 notes. Now, the first step in writing songs, you can either start with the melody. I like to start figuring out a cool chord progression to just start the party, and you'll see why in a second. So the chord progression I'm going to go with, and if we use something that I call the chord lineup, it's going to be the 3, 4, 5, and 6 chord. And it sounds like this. Now, the way I construct these chords is by using chord strategies. So the 3 chord in the key of C major is an E minor chord, and I use the 2-3 strategy. So I count my root note here. I go 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. The 4 chords an F major chord. So I use the 3-2 strategy. Go 1, 2, 1. So root note F, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then there, and then G major, A minor, right? But what we can do here to spice it up is there's different things we can do and different chord voicings that we can add to it. We can 7th chord it, we can beautify it. There's many different strategies that I teach. And what I wanted to do in this track was make it a little bit more jazzy. Now, I'll show you what I do. I basically create 7th and 6th chords based off these regular chords. So the E minor chord now has the D on top, and this is using the 2-3-2 strategy. I make the F major chord an F major 7th chord. Right? So what I just did there is I jazzified it. And I'm not going to go into all the intricacies here. I just want to show you how this process works so that you can see how easy this actually is to write music. So we go here. Now, if I wanted to beautify it, I could have done something like this. Right? So just the basic chord progression, there's different strategies that you can use to make it unique. Now, melody. How can we derive melodies? Now, there's 2 different things I'll show you in this lesson by itself. And the first one is going to be known as melody starters. So as I mentioned, these 7 notes in the key of C repeat over and over again. I'm going to label my keyboard now in a numeric 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it goes on and on throughout the piano. So if we have a certain idea of what I call melody starters, we can create melodies. So there's hundreds of these melody starters that I teach. I'm going to show you a couple of them in here just to, really showcase, wow, how powerful this actually is. So the first one can be a 5, 6, 8, and this is the one you hear Avicii and Kygo use. Or 5, 6, 1, excuse me. There's 2, 3, 5. There's 3, 5, 6. There's 2, 3, 5, 6. And you see I'm just playing around a little bit here, right? This is how I start the melody idea process. So my chord progression was... Okay, so the 6, 5, 3 sounds good here, and I don't even need my chord progression. I could just think of different combinations that I can use to create a unique melody, and we'll walk through the first melody in the song that goes like this. So I first thought out, I'm going to use the 2, 3, 5, 6 melody starter. So I'm going to go... I like that, maybe as the beginning part of the melody. Then I'll be like, all right, what can I do that's going downward? Because I want to have some downward movement in this melody. So I'll say... So this is another melody starter. The 7, 1, 7, 5, 6. So I start combining these different melody starters, and you can see if you understand the piano how easy it is to start writing music. So you'll be like, okay, well... Now, some people like to start with the melody first, and that's fine. You just have to pair it with the right chord progression. So I started with the chord progression. Now, if I just had the melody, I could actually use different chord progressions. I can go... So if you have actually a library of chord progressions that you can use in a library of melody starters, you can just mix and match the pair once you understand how to do it on the piano. Now, the next part of this is going to be rhythm, right? So what we want to do to spice this up a little bit more is figure out different rhythmic variations to use in our melody and also potentially our chord progression. So this is the third part of how to write a song, right? So we first had our chord progression. We used some melody starters and came up with something that sounded like this. All right, so that really goes into the third part of it, rhythm and improvisation. So... And this process is known through some what I call experimentation. And what we're doing is we're taking our melody starter and we're just playing around with our fingers a bit, right? And there's a lot of exercises that you can do to practice to get different rhythmic patterns, right, that I show on my YouTube channel in my masterclass. But the point is here is that we want to come up with a unique rhythmic pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, all right, that sounds pretty good. And then we have this part. So I like to use some call and response here, and this is an improvisational tactic. So we're really combining the 4 parts here in one. 3 and 4 go hand in hand sometimes when we do rhythm and improvisation. So what I'm doing here is I'm like, all right, let me think of some unique rhythmic pattern that I've, just played throughout playing songs. That's pretty damn catchy, right? So now that sounds good, but I feel like something in the melody is like missing. There's like a missing piece in some space. And maybe the space sounds good, but can I bridge the 2 melody stars? And you'll see on the screen that I'm laying this stuff all out. So again, pause and rewind this if it's a little bit fast, or a little bit confusing, but I really want to just show you how easy it is to write songs when you follow this proven process. It's very scientific what we're doing here. So I go. All right, so I'm going to use a 3-2-1-7 melody starter to lead into my next melody starter. So we really have 3 melody starters right here. We have the 2-3-5-6. We have a downward walking 3-2-1-7, and then the 7-1-7-5-6. So our melody is really 3 melody starters that we've combined here to make the melody sound like this. And then I add my rhythm and improvisational tactics. I'll just start with the rhythm here. And then you throw in some like improvisation. And one tactic you can use is called a grace note or a repeat note. And it sounds like this. The dun dun. That's a repeat note. Avicii used it, Kygo used it a lot. The Beatles, everyone used repeat notes, right? So you throw this in together and you get something that sounds like this. Now, what did I just do right there to bridge back up to the top? So if you saw my melody's movement, the melody went down, and then what I did is I walked up a chord. So I took an A minor 7th chord right here. So the chord progression went like this. My left hand's playing an A minor 7th chord. So what I did is I walked up the A minor 7th chord. So the first way I mentioned earlier on was that you can use a melody starter. The second way to start writing melodies is just take chords and mess around with them in your right hand. So one of the chords that I could have used in this chord progression that I came up with first is an A minor 7th chord. So now this is inherently a melody starter, right? It's the 6-1-3-5. Now what I'm doing is an improvisational tactic called doubling. So bum bum, 2-2, dun dun. I'm playing double notes, like. And again, like this is a very quick, compressed lesson. There's a lot going on here that I'm going through at a really rapid pace, and you might not understand everything that's going on, but you understand the general gist of how we songwrite like machines and how we get this boom, 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 and we get stuff done. Is we follow the formula: chord progression, melody starter, rhythmic pattern, and then we add some improvisational tactics. I only showed you the grace note in here and the doubling of the notes. So if you take a note, instead of playing it just one time, you play it really fast. Bum, 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 bum. So that's another rhythmic improvisational tactic that you can use, right? So what we came up with today was we came up with some melody. We combined some melody starters. We had a chord progression, and then we just played it. Now again, I'm going to show this very quickly, but we can write songs very, very fast. And I'm going to just show you a couple more really quickly. I like this chord progression right here, the D minor, A minor, G. And I'm going to take the melody starter 5-6-1. So all I did was just add some rhythm in there, and then we have a song. Another chord progression. Let's do an F major, A minor, G. And let's use the 615 melody starter. And again, you can just see, and I'm laying it on the screen quickly, melody starter, chord progression, combine, play, repeat, right? And that's the basics, right? To get really good, though, you just have to know the advanced chord progression tactics, the advanced melody tactics. But through time, effort, and practice that I teach on my YouTube channel as well as my masterclass, you'll be able to accomplish this. So to conclude the lesson today, what I showed you is how to write a song. We take chord progressions, we combine them with melody starters, or taking a chord and really breaking it out and experimenting with some different rhythm, which is number 3. And then the 4th one is adding improvisational tactics, right? And there's a lot more improv that you can do. You can take chords and arpeggiate them. And I'm just taking like 7th and 11th chords and just arpeggiating them a little bit. But again, this may seem super complicated, but if you think about it, it's very scientific. And once you learn the science behind it and get the fundamentals and the foundation, that's when you can go on to make really crazy, unique music. But as you can see here, if you master piano fundamentals, it's really easy. It's not actually that challenging. You just got to put in a little bit of work with the right coach and the right system, and you'll get there. So that concludes this lesson, and let's get back into the presentation. All right, now that you went through the live training section, I want to give you the blueprint to your hybrid producer transformation. And it starts like this. So the best way to become a hybrid producer is to follow a tested system that consistently gets results for students of all levels, of all ages, a methodology that you can use, not just in learning piano, but really anywhere in life. And I call this the Piano for Producers methodology. We start with foundations first. In order to build a cathedral, you have to lay down brick by brick with the right tools and the right guide. And thankfully, we have the instruction manual on how to do this, especially for learning piano. Now, to gain fundamentals, as I said earlier, you need chord strategies and construction, melody creation, rhythm, and improv. So these are all the chords that you're going to need to learn and understand the strategies on how to build. And I've listed them all here. In terms of melody, you'll have to learn the different suspensions. You'll have to learn about grace notes, trills, up and down cycles, different types of melody, counter melody, and call and response. And then improvisation is, there's different tactics to use there as well. And throughout all of this, you'll also acquire rhythm by playing through these different things. So you know that these are the chords that you're going to need and you're going to have to put them together, but how will you exactly do it? And that's where we get into action-focused learning. So we always try to learn by doing. We never just try to study, how to construct the chord and never actually go and do it. So putting in repetition of playing and finding new chord progressions is one way to do this. Playing different melodies that you may hear from songs that you like and writing different melodies every single day to accompany your chord progressions. And then when you do this together, you can make them more interesting with different rhythmic patterns and different improvisation. And it's like going to the gym and working out different muscles. Now you have to put in the reps, and this is what you're acquiring through the foundations, and then you're doing it in the action focus part. But now the thing is, you could go to the gym, but you could be doing everything, in the wrong way. You could be lifting way too much weight. You could be lifting way too little weight. So that's why we put systems in place, and we're very systematic in our approach here. So there has to be a system, 1, to save you time, and really 2, to make sure you're doing everything right. And now when you go to the gym, you want to have a specific workout regimen that has been designed by a trainer or someone that has created success in the past. And my system for doing all of this, as I showed you guys, is chord progressions first, then melody, then rhythm, and then improvisation follows after that. So that's my 4-step system. So you have foundations, you learn how to do all this, you learn how to construct these, you learn how to write the melodies. You're action focused, you put in the repetitions, you follow the right system, and then your mindset has to be in place. And I know this is maybe a little bit of an overused term in our day, but it is critical to have the right mindset when learning. And mindset is very critical. And in reality, you have to have the right mindset. And we stress this very importantly on building the success mindset, and the front office mentality is what I like to call it at Piano for Producers. So this is your blueprint on how to become a hybrid producer. If you can go through this and do this, you will be able to, make better music, stop struggling with songwriting issues, make better melodies, make better chord progressions. And really, this blueprint can be used to learn anything in life. Now, for this specifically, getting these piano fundamentals, you can go through YouTube and other channels to find this information. Now, what you're going to run into though, and the problem is there's so many channels out there with so many different information, you'll end up in information overload. Certain teachers will have different strategies, they'll contradict each other, and you're kind of going all over the place to find everything. Now, this is going to take you a lot of time and you're going to waste a lot of time doing so. So I'd otherly suggest that you can hire a piano teacher to teach you these things. And I'm sure there's some in your area. You can do virtual lessons as well. But how many piano teachers are actually focused on production and actual legitimate producers with production knowledge? And they can get very expensive. Certain teachers range from $60 to $100 an hour. I charge even more than that for one-on-one. And what happens is you get teachers that try to teach you a lot of pointless music theory. They'll do like drills that don't matter, that aren't action focused. And they do this kind of also just make more money and keep you stringing you along for a longer time versus an action focused plan with a specific result in mind. And a lot of teachers also just use a lot of outdated stuff. So the newer age ideas are different apps like Flowkey or Musician. And these could be helpful to a degree, but I will tell you that they've reached out to me to advertise their products, not just on my site, but on my personal channels, because I have a lot of people that want to learn piano from me. And I've actually rejected thousands of dollars from these companies because I just don't believe in their products and they're not effective. And I don't think they're effective for music producers, but I ask you to, if you want to find out for yourself, feel free to, right? Now, what's your time worth? Are you going to find everything that you need on these channels? And you would be able to on YouTube, but again, I go back to the question, what is your time worth? And are you willing to put in years and years of time to find everything that you need? And then foundations first. Things aren't taught in isolation when you're searching around the internet. It's not all tied together. And in order to truly build foundations and build your cathedral from the ground up, you need to find everything in one place. So this is the blueprint though, and you can go buy it to become a hybrid producer. Now there is another option. And this is where I'm going to talk about now, doing it the fastest and easiest way possible. And as you guys know, I run the Modern Piano Masterclass. And I teach music producers the piano fundamentals and turn them into songwriting machines. And they enjoy the entire process because you're learning an instrument, you're playing, you're having fun. And some of these students have no background in piano, have never played an instrument before. And within weeks, sometimes days, they're playing and creating. And this class is not just for music producers. Any songwriters can benefit from it. And I even have people that just want to learn piano take it. Now, there are 4 core areas to the program. Chord dominance, where I will teach you everything I've learned over my 24 years about chords. And you can go on my YouTube channel and see every single song that I've played. All of that information is included in this program. We then break down melody mastery. I have you playing very catchy melodies so that we start to mold your brain into just becoming a songwriting machine. And they're easier melodies, medium, harder, and it gets more challenging. And if you're even not challenged enough, hit me up and I'll write more for you to play. And then you add them together, right? And we do this through practice. And this is really training your muscle memory. I show you the proper fingering so you're not guessing what finger should I use here? How should I play this? How should I do all this? How should I sit? All of that's provided, guys. And then improvisation. I show you all of these ninja tactics, and you could go in the review section on my site and see what students are saying about this. But it's everything that I've learned in my entire life playing the piano. It's all broken down to 8 modules. The chord dominance module, the melody mastery module, and then we break down and play through 4 tracks from start to finish. And I actually wrote these to optimize your learning. And again, we do learning by doing at Piano for Producers. This is not an overpriced college music theory course where you never touch a piano. This is not, your old school piano teacher. We get shit done here. And I want to get you unbelievable results in not just, weeks. Sometimes it takes little weeks. I want you to get this in days. Once you play through these 4 songs and go through the first 2 modules, I promise you that you will be able to songwrite very easily compared to where you're at today. Now, module 7, what I actually did over the past year is I've been mentored by some of the top producers in the world. I've taken everything that I've learned, especially in regards to piano processing, how to record pianos, how to layer pianos, how to make them sound good when you're playing and recording them, and put it into module 7. I leave no stone unturned. And then I show you guys exactly how I made the remix leave and got my first official remix. I show you the composition behind it. I show you all the instruments that I use, where to find the instruments, where to buy the instruments, everything. I give it all away here. I'm literally hiding nothing from you guys. And here's what one of the students had to say about the program. His name's Sonix. He's done very well, has millions of streams. You can check out his music. Here's what he had to say about the program.
As a producer and myself, if you're a producer out there considering taking this course, I 110% recommend you take this course. The skills you gain from putting in the work on this course and the knowledge you gain from from Nico, is absolutely priceless. Your productions, your songs will move up in a level like you never would have expected before. I can't even describe it well enough because it just it's brought a whole new light, a whole new potential to my songs that I never would have thought of before. Nico provides you tons of great strategies to use and strategies you can apply even after the course. Like the course doesn't expire after you're done. Like these skills are invaluable and will be able to be applied for the rest of your life and your career.
So I also don't want to forget the bonuses that are included in this program. So if you're ready to act today, I'm going to have a deal for you guys, but let me first explain what bonuses I've included. Now, this one is probably the thing I am most proud of that I've done in my entire life. So this MIDI pack has 50 unique chord progressions with over 100 variation. There's over 1,000 melodies in here that I've created on the piano. And I promise you, I don't think you'll ever need to buy another MIDI pack ever again in your life. And the great part about this is I recorded this all on my grand piano at my house. So every single MIDI sounds real. And Nate, one of our students who's a great producer, he's going to talk a little bit about this when I slide it here, but you can tell for yourself, this thing, as he says, will drop your jaw.
The MIDI pack is incredible. When I first got access to it through the course, my jaw literally hit the floor. Like, this thing is amazing. I've tried to use MIDI packs out there before. I've spent a ton of money on packs, on MIDI packs before. And I've literally never used them because they've never been high quality. They've never been any good content in there. And this one is anything but, right? Nico physically went through and recorded himself, a professional level concert pianist, and he recorded them all. So they have velocity animation, they have sustain automation. It's incredible. You put it on an Ableton stock piano and it literally sounds better than the nicest piano plugin that you can buy and process, just because of how organic the MIDI is, right? And so not only is it super high quality, but the quantity of it is amazing. I think there's something like 5,000 chord progressions and melodies in there, which is stupid. I feel like I could produce a song every single day for the next 10 years using only the MIDI in the MIDI pack, and be able to be fine and be producing amazing professional quality music. So the MIDI pack, I know it's not the main emphasis of the course, but for me, it's incredible. Like, I quite frankly would have paid, knowing what I know now about how amazing the MIDI pack is, I would have paid the full course. The MIDI pack itself is worth the price of the entire course, and it's an add-on bonus.
So anyway, yeah, the MIDI pack is my life's work, and honestly, I'm going to sell it separately at some point, but for now, it's only included in the program. Now, Make Music Your Life is another program, and I'm giving you everything that I did to grow a large audience. And you guys saw earlier, my Spotify did extremely well, and I've done that as an independent artist. I signed one track to a label, but then didn't include anything to the amount of streams. But I'm going to give you every single thing that I did to end up making $3,000 a month passively just from Spotify streams, and how to build that brand authority, how to get respect and get support from other artists around the world, and honestly create the lifestyle of making music your life, depending on whatever you want to do, whether you want to just be a pop producer or a mixing mastering engineer or anything else. And I give you guys everything that I learned, not just in my music career, but also in business as well. One of my good friends and Grammy-nominated producer, Ming, he's going to be showing you guys a track he made from start to finish and a collaborative track, and you'll gain insights on his workflow, his arrangement, his vocal processing, and he interviews as well, and he's a massive supporter of the program. I've taught him piano. Very, very insightful. So that's the third bonus. And the fourth bonus is what I call, if you ever get stuck in a creative rut, just watch a couple of videos here and you'll be fine. There's over 5 hours of all the improvisational tactics I know. There's 100 videos in this Improv Mastery mini program, I guess you can call it. And really, anyone that gets stuck here, they always ask me, Nico, I'm a little stuck on a project. Go to this program. I'll point you to a couple of videos and you will get out of that creative rut instantly. So if you're ready to take action today, which at this point, if you're thus far in this video, I'm going to give you the Modern Piano Masterclass and these extra 4 bonuses. But you know what? Because you've been here for so long, if you do need a little more time than acting today, I completely understand. And I'll keep this offer up for you. I'm not going to hold it against you. But at this point, after I say what I'm going to say next, I would encourage you to be an action taker and get started, and to show you how much skin I have in the game and how much I've invested and been very fortunate and grateful enough to do so. The best of the best that you see right here is being put in this program. The best of my 20 years of piano lessons, education from Johns Hopkins, best of all the online courses that I've taken from the best coaches, the best mentors, and every other music-related investment that I've made. You can see it right here on the screen. And the pure time that I've put into this to make this program fantastic. And I'm going to be continually investing more and more and more to learn more and more and put more and more in this program. So what you're seeing right here, you're getting the best of this at a highly, highly discounted rate. So here is what you get with the Modern Piano Masterclass. So you get full lifetime access to this program that has over 50 hours of content, more than 50 hours of content, and the best of everything that I know. Every 2 weeks for an entire year, you get live Q&A calls where you can ask me whatever you'd like to ask about your melodies, your chord progressions, your music business, whatever it may be. From there, you're part of our Facebook mastermind group where you can post in the group and ask questions and connect with others. You get my entire walkthrough of the official Borges remix, all the plugins, all the presets, all the samples that I'm using. You get the ultimate MIDI pack, 5,000 MIDI recordings that happen on a grand piano. Make music your life, showing you how I make money, how I do things, and how I'm continually going to be doing things going forward. The Ming Start to Finish course where we break down his song honestly. Improvisational mastery. So if you add up the value here, and again, I could sell these separately for way more than the pure value here of over $6,000, it's still not going to cost you anywhere near that. So the price of this program is $19.97, so approximately $2,000. However, since we're first launching the program, I want to incentivize people to join and get in the program, and I want to make great case studies. So for a limited time, and I don't know how long this will be going on for, and I truly say that because eventually there'll be so many students that I just can't take as many and have that much capacity. So for right now, what I'm doing is a one-time payment of $9.97 gives you access to everything we've gone over in this presentation. And it comes out to $2.73 a day. And a lot of you guys out there could be spending that much at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts just getting a cup of coffee. Additionally, I do have a payment plan if you can't afford that upfront payment of $297 for 4 months. And I also want to mention to you that my personal guarantee behind all of this, to make this an effortless decision on your behalf, if you enroll in this Modern Piano Masterclass, you go through the first 14 days and decide that it's not for you, all you have to do is send me an email and I want to give you your money back within 48 hours because, again, I want this to be really beneficial for you. And if you go through it and you're like, this is really not for me, totally fine, completely understand. I just know that if you go through this program, I have the highest confidence in the world that you're going to improve. And I've seen it with student again, from different parts of the world, different levels of experience. The program works. And again, any issues that you even have, you can ask questions on the Q&A calls. You can ask questions in the Facebook group and they'll be addressed. Just to show you how important student success is to me, I'm bringing you on the reviews page right here. I am obsessed with making sure that students get fantastic results. And you can go through here and listen to some of the stories and success stories that we've had. And from different producers, songwriters, and people that just want to learn to play piano to improve their overall songwriting and creative ability. And Ryan really summarizes it best here. Ryan's a fantastic producer under the name Heartstopper. And let's just listen to what he has to say.
Hey, my name is Ryan, and I'm a pop producer from Los Angeles. I've been making music for about 5 years now, and I'm not classically trained in piano by any means. Growing up, I always wanted to learn how to play the piano. I took some lessons here and there, in person, and then in college I even took a class on how to play piano. But none of that really stuck, and it was tough for me to understand how that could apply to what I wanted to learn, which was songwriting and production, and being able to sit down and write my own songs and be creative. So I came across Nico's program, Piano for Producers, a few months ago, and that's been huge for my growth and helping me feel confident in myself when I sit down to play the piano or when I sit down to get in a session with another artist. knowing how to play the piano is crucial because I have to speak the same language as my other songwriters and be able to play the chord progressions that they're talking about and kind of bounce around ideas. And Nico's program has helped me feel so much more confident in myself and my abilities. Nico is an absolute professional when it comes to how he conducts himself and the curriculum that he's teaching. He's a complete pro. If you have had the chance to watch him play piano at all, you'll know within 5 seconds that he's just a beast at the piano. And his energy alone as a teacher is inspiring to me and really helped me get passionate about learning piano, because I watched him and his excitement when he speaks about learning piano, and seeing that I was like, whoa, I got to get in this and learn how to play myself. So the lessons are super inspiring, and Nico is just a great teacher, and I definitely recommend it. Here is Apologize by Justin Timberlake, Timbaland, and One Republic.
So you can see that Ryan's crushing it playing piano, and it definitely makes everyone just an overall better producer because you just get these skills that can help you in so many different areas. And again, we have students from all over the world, and you can go through some of these yourself just to see how this program can help transform your life. And we have students as well that are guitarists, different instrumentalists, and really it comes down to student results, and I love seeing these. I love getting these results for students. So with that being said, you can check out this reviews page. You can also check out the masterclass page, which goes more in depth on the curriculum. It goes more in depth on everything else. And if you click the button below on the screen that you're watching this video right now, you'll be able to access that. So just quickly again to summarize, here's what you're going to get in the program. You could see this right here. And I promise and say this with full sincerity, that if you go through the program and you send me an email saying it's just not for you, you're not going to get a back and forth where I never respond or I basically you'll never get your money back. I hate that. I hate when I buy courses and people do that. As you can see, I've bought in a lot of courses, so I've dealt with a lot of good people and a lot of bad people. Mostly good people though, but the ones that really annoyed me, I never want to have anyone have that type of customer experience. So again, I'm very excited. If you're ready to take the jump and get started, there's really no risk for you. If it doesn't work out and you don't like it, totally fine. Again, you are getting the best of the best that I've been able to discover in my entire life. It's all here. So click the button below and you can check out the masterclass page, which goes more in depth on everything. It's a very long text page and you can go through and see some of the course overview, some of the curriculum. And again, if you have more questions or really want to discuss and you're serious about this, you can book a call and we could discuss this at some point, what hesitations you may have or anything else like that. But the people that go through this program, I haven't found anyone that regrets it, that has gone through the program in its entirety. Every single person has found lots of value. And again, you could just be missing those couple of things that are really holding you back. And I want you to be successful. I want you to be the next case study. I want to put you on that reviews page and continue growing this program and help thousands of producers master piano fundamentals to increase and unlock their creative potentials in the fields of songwriting, arrangement, and composition. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.